wrong for holding my wedding at the same venue as my first husband's funeral?
Ugh, that's a funny sentence.
Last summer, my first husband passed away after being in a car accident a month before. The doctors expected him to pull through yet be paralyzed from the waist down, but he already had health problems and the trauma from the accident ultimately prevailed. I and his parents organized a funeral at a spacious old Catholic cathedral. I kept thinking to myself the whole time that this place is too beautiful for a funeral. That's what you were thinking about when your husband was in his casket, was that this place is too beautiful for a funeral? That's weird. For some reason, it felt wrong having such a sad occasion there. I even remember wishing that I had married my first husband there instead of the outdoor wedding we had. You're weird. Why are you thinking about that stuff? Fast forward to early 2022. I reunited with an ex-boyfriend of mine from years before. We started dating again, and before we knew it, we were engaged. I've been criticized a lot for how fast I moved on, but I guess everyone heals differently. We started planning for the wedding, and we decided that we'd have it at the same cathedral where my first husband's funeral was held. I still am in contact with my first husband's parents, and they were happy for me when I told them I was dating and then when I got engaged. In a phone call, my first husband's mother asked about the wedding, so I said that they could come if they wanted to. She seemed a bit taken aback at first, so I totally thought I screwed up, but then she said she'd love to. I don't know how to explain what happened other than to just write the conversation down as well as I can remember. Me. We will be marrying at this, insert name of the cathedral. Silence. Her. I just can't believe it. Me. Believe what? Silence. Her. I'm sorry, this is just appalling to me. Me. I want to have our wedding there in honor of my first husband. I would have married him there if I knew about this place. Her. You're moving on too quickly. You need to slow down. Think about how my son would feel. You can't replace him. Me. I'm not replacing him. I'm trying to keep his memory alive. I found love again, but I will never forget him. Her. You moved on. You've moved on. My son hasn't moved on. My son will never move on. And I'm sure if he were alive, he'd want to. Me. I'm sorry. And then she hangs up the phone. I haven't spoken to her or her husband since. I still plan on having my wedding there, but it just puts a bad taste in my mouth knowing that my first husband's parents are against it. But after all, they aren't involved in the wedding anyways, so I don't see why they should have a say. I wish they'd at least support me because I've been through hell and back. I'm in a better place now and they don't like to see me happy. But I also feel kind of selfish because they aren't happy. So am I the asshole? Am I wrong for losing it on my fiance for disinviting my stepsister from our wedding? I'm gonna keep it short. I, female 25, am getting married to my fiance next month. We've had no issues with the wedding planning except the guest list. Context: I have a large family. I have 2 stepsisters, 18, 20, and a biological brother, 27, and also a biological sister, 30. My fiance argued that the guest list should be cut short and suggested I only invite my immediate family. I asked him to elaborate, and he suggested excluding my stepsisters. I said no and got upset with him for implying that they're not family, and he said, well, this wasn't what I meant. I was just speaking from a technical angle, especially since I didn't include them in my wedding party like maid of honor and bridesmaids. So he thought they were unneeded, but I said that they were wanted and will always be wanted and included by me. Well, days ago, my stepsisters called me saying my fiance canceled the invitations and told them some lie about changing wedding location and telling them they won't be able to come. I was fuming. I went home and started screaming at him. He asked that I hear him out, then explained he had no choice since we were required to shorten the list and just did my dirty work for me since I obviously was just looking at the situation from an emotional angle and couldn't bring myself to disinvite my stepsisters myself. I called him a hypocrite because he invited almost 6 of his family friends who, as far as I know, aren't immediate family. I told him he hurt my stepsisters by going behind my back and excluding them from my wedding, which they've been excited about. He got up from the couch and yelled that it's our wedding, so my stepsisters' feelings aren't really that relevant compared to his, and he called me controlling for wanting my way or the highway. He took his phone and stormed off to see his friends. Some of his friends called to scold me for how I'm treating their brother, and then went on about how rude I was to suggest that their brother disinvite them from the wedding just because I don't like them and called it a you problem. My future mother-in-law called and is wanting to speak to me. He probably told her what's going on and she's probably going to ask that I apologize for yelling. So, oh my god, please don't marry this dude. What the heck? You guys aren't even married. Look how much he's gaslighting you. Get out of here.
Am I the asshole for telling my dying son his dad is leaving me? I, 53 female, have a son, 26 male, with my soon-to-be ex-husband, 50 male. My dear son has a terminal illness and has transitioned from palliative care to hospice care. Needless to say, we're all devastated and have been hiding our separation from him. Unfortunately, the pressure of caring for our son and manipulation from a neighbor led me to a one night of indiscretion, and now my husband wants a divorce. He told me he wouldn't file until after our son passes away, and I was appreciative about this at first. But now I'm rethinking this and told him if he's not man enough to fight for the best thing that's ever happened to him, then I would tell our son that his dad is leaving me. My husband and our entire extended family are lining up and begging me not to do it. They said this news would devastate him in his final weeks, and he doesn't have to find out. But it doesn't feel right to lie to him. He's a young man who should be treated with dignity while he's here. He deserves the truth, and to know that his dad is giving up on our family. He doesn't need to be lied to and coddled like a child. I've already made up my mind, and that unless my husband agrees to counseling and to not file for divorce by tomorrow, I'm telling our son the truth so we can all have closure. It's his family too, and he should know that his dad is about to rip it apart.
Where is the accountability here?
There is none.
None.
There is absolutely none.
This is a narcissist. I mean, this sounds like a very narcissistic thing to do.
I know, and we really have tried not to throw that around. Like, we really evaluated how much we were saying it. Like, we try not to throw that around, but like this is,
I haven't said that word in a long time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we've tried, we've
okay.
really like not said it. And I think you are potentially right. Like, there is no insight into anyone but herself. Mm-hmm. He's willing to throw away the best thing that's ever happened to him. He's not willing to fight for us. Ma'am, you had an affair.
Well, exactly.
For reference, my brother is 19, I'm 26, and my now ex-fiance Hunter is 28. My brother was kicked out when he was 16 because our parents snooped through his phone and found out that he was gay. Connor had a birthday party last weekend, so we invited his friends over. They were all 18 to 22-year-olds drinking and playing games. Hunter and I were about to head out to let them have the place to themselves when Connor asked if he wanted to join them. I initially refused, a bit too old to be playing drinking games, but he insisted and Hunter thought it'd be fun to act like college students again. We all got pretty drunk and Connor had the idea of playing Never Have I Ever. A few rounds in, the statement, "Never have I ever cheated before," came up. Now's a good time to mention that Hunter is staunchly against cheating. His ex-fiance cheated on him and it emotionally wrecked him. And unfortunately, as a lot of dumb, immature 17-year-olds do, I cheated on my boyfriend of 5 months. It was a stupid mistake. He found out and understandably ended things. This was almost a decade ago. I obviously learned my lesson and look back at the same time with shame and obviously never cheated since. Well, my brother knows about this, so when I didn't drink, he went, "Hey sis, what the hell? You know you cheated on blank. You have to drink to that." My fiance paused, looked at me, looked at him, and just walked out of the room. I followed him and tried to tell him that it was a stupid teenage mistake, but he wasn't having any of it and ended things on the spot. I'm numb. I'm heartbroken. He was my everything and more, and I still don't know how I'm going to move on. Connor tried to apologize, but I feel nothing but sadness and emptiness. This morning, I served him an eviction notice. He begged me to stay and said that he didn't mean to ruin my relationship and he just didn't think when he said those words. He ruined my life after I raised and cared for him like he was my own. I feel so hurt. Am I the asshole for kicking my brother out, who our parents have previously disowned because he told my now ex-fiance that I cheated 9 years ago? My husband, 33, has a friend, Carl, 33, who he considers to be one of his closest friends. My husband sometimes calls Carl his nicotine because of how much he misses him and wants to spend time with him. They do everything together. They're even coworkers working the same job. Unfortunately, Carl's wife passed away from cancer 3 months ago, which caused him to distance himself. My husband felt devastated for him. He recently started spending more time with him and brought him meals. We planned a 3-day vacation to another state. I made a hotel reservation for 2. Unbeknownst to me, my husband had invited Carl to come with us. This made me upset because it spoiled the entire vacation. Not trying to be dramatic, I only found out when he went to pick him up. I sucked it up after my husband explained that Carl is a recent widower who's been wallowing in grief for so long and needed this vacation. The problem is money is tight, and since Carl hasn't worked ever since his wife passed, he couldn't pay for his own room and we didn't have a budget for it. My husband said that we should just share one room. I again sucked it up since he said that we'd be out all day on the beach anyway. First night, I was in bed when my husband and Carl got back. I got woken up by my husband telling me to get out of bed and sleep on the mattress he put on the floor for me, and that he and Carl would take the bed. I asked if he was serious and he asked what else is he supposed to do. He said that Carl was a guest and we can't let him sleep on the floor, and at the same time, I can't share a bed with Carl while he, my husband, sleeps on the floor. I told him I didn't sign up for this, but he told me to suck it up and try to put the Carl as a widower card. I told Carl to get out and then got up and got dressed to go home. My husband started yelling at me, calling me irrational, but I wasn't having it. I left the hotel and traveled back home. Carl didn't say anything when he saw me leave, except that I was making this non-issue an issue. When they got back, my husband refused to even talk about it, but still said that I ruined this for Carl and us and acted aberrantly and disgustingly. I admit Carl is struggling and I might have ruined this for him, but I didn't even know he was coming. Am I the asshole for going home after I got told to sleep on the floor?
Am I the asshole for exposing all my coworkers after they said I was lazy? I work in home care and my boss informed me that all my coworkers have been complaining about my laziness. They said the house is a mess when they arrive, and I guess the blame is on me. I have 4 coworkers and we all have the same job role: care for patients and keep the house clean. Every week when I arrive in the house on 4 at Saturday, there's a number of problems. Dirty clothes filling the kitchen, ants on the drawers, counters, tables, leftover food. Leftover dishes, dirty diapers on the ground, an empty fridge, and zero cleaning products. So I clean what I can. Am I the asshole for exposing all my coworkers after they said I was ugly? Excuse me, lazy. So I cleaned what I could and did all that while prepping for dinner. Sunday, I cleaned the rest of the house to do grocery shopping, household shopping, and deal with the bug problem. No help from my weekend coworker who doesn't know how to use a laundry machine or cook. I told her to make dinner and she made pancakes and jelly. I do all this, but I'm still called the lazy coworker. I explained to my boss, but she believes it's me leaving the house like that over the weekend and said I need to fix myself. So I took videos of how my coworkers left the house and sent it to my boss. She sent a warning to our group chat and basically everyone got in trouble.